Hey, kick that door closed for me. Thank you.
I'm coming back.
That's fine. I don't care. It doesn't matter if you open or close it. All right. I guess I'm live. Welcome. It is April 1st, and I'm not much of an April Fool's person. So I didn't do anything for April Fool's. Not really my thing. But I know a lot of people enjoy this. I just threw up there April Fool's. April Fool's is mostly because I don't have another subject specifically that I wanted to talk about. But nonetheless, let me see if something's even working here. Hey, cool. This does work. I just booted up this laptop, and I was updating the other laptop, which is right here. And actually, is this one done updating? Let's check. Maybe. All right, looks like a few more updates to load on this one. This is the smaller laptop that I leave here all the time. This is my home laptop. So people ask why I have two of them. It's because I don't always feel like bringing my home laptop. It's usually hooked up to two screens. Not that it's difficult to unplug or something. I just don't bring it. All right, now I can shut this one down. Power off. All right. There we go. I don't need it wasting juice. But today, before I started the show, I had a little bit of sneezing going on, but that's actually because of these. So last time we were talking about the habanero garlic salt. This is a ghost pepper. Has it got garlic in it, or is it just salt? 100% ghost pepper powder.
Is that the smoke?
This is smoked ghost pepper, right?
Yeah. That's
all right.
I think that's the apple smoke.
This is, so cough a little bit. This is what I was doing before I started this, was eating smoked ghost peppers. Applewood smoked ghost peppers. This stuff's great. It is by Wild. Does it say Wild Tickle? Okay. Wicked Tickle. I'm sorry. Wild Tickle, Wicked Tickle. You know, it's all right. Somebody needs glasses. Well, look at the font on this thing. Who can read? Yeah, this is a terrible font. And I also, cursive is damn near a foreign language to me, so. Eric, yes. That's the other one. Eric's working remotely. He's one of the staff members here, and he was watching us on camera because we have the ability to, well, the staff has access to the cameras, so they could see on the cameras that we were all sneezing and coughing related to all that. So, let's see. Let's see. Hi from Switzerland. World's treating me great, man. Ubiquity, Ubiquity didn't get hacked. Ubiquity fixed all the firmware problems. There would be a great April Fool's joke. Let's see. What else do we have? Belgium. All over the place. Belgium chocolate. Hello from Florida. Awesome. All right. Caught up on all that. So hello, everyone from all over the place. Jay over at Learn Linux TV did do a good April Fool's video. It was well put together. I did enjoy it. If you haven't checked that out, I retweeted it. You can find it. It's the latest video posted on Learn Linux TV, so that was really cool. He had a fun idea. Me and him actually talked through the idea. I didn't really have anything to contribute to it, but I thought it was still a hysterical idea when he came up with it to be able to put it together. So, hey, we got Travis in here. We got clients joining the live stream. That's awesome. What else do we have here? I was going to pull up something I tweeted because it's one of the things I did want to talk about today because I thought this was interesting. I just didn't list it out, so to speak. I'll bring up this because this is something a few people have asked about. So let's first mention this because this is cool. And it is the Home Lab show is now officially on more places that you can get podcasts. Listening podcasts is stupid? A pain. Yes, Kyle's in the background there, and he said a pain. He's right. One of the problems is getting it listed on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Blueberry. You have to get them indexed because there's not a central place to put the podcast. It's a... yes, it is a series of places that you have to put it. But we're keeping the site up to date, so it's easy enough to get it from here. We have the RSS feed, so you can get it directly from us because we host this ourselves, and we are hosting the podcast, so you can, without dealing with Apple, Google, Spotify, Blurberry, or whichever one you're using that this hopefully gets indexed to, you're able to go to the homelab.show/feed and actually grab this and throw it into whatever you're using for a podcast tool. So that's at least something we get out of the way. We got that working for those of you that follow us on the Home Lab show, which I think is great. Nathan Cook, awesome. Good to see you. Thanks for your donation. Much appreciated. I'm buffering a lot. I don't know. Yeah, the Learn Linux TV is the Debian video. That's his April Fool's video. He'll change the title later probably to say April Fool's, but it's clearly a fun video meant for that. And it's not a joke. It's not a try to fool you into something really in some terrible way. That's actually one of the reasons I like it, is because it's just humorous. Yeah, we did do our own RSS feed. Jay's really quiet, so it becomes very challenging because I'm louder. Now, that's normally solved in some of the mixing, but we've had trouble getting it mixed properly, and I don't understand exactly. It's something about the way his feed is not coming through in Zoom better, so we have to do something, because normally Zoom auto levels it. It does for like everyone else I work with, but it's not doing a great job of auto leveling with Jay. So there's still something we're missing in the audio for sure. We just don't know exactly what it is. Normally, like I said, I see it's something in Zoom, but normally Zoom perfectly cleans up the audio. Matter of fact, over at the Twit TV network, if you follow some of the stuff that Leo Laporte does, they've moved away from Skype and over to Zoom because the audio quality is better. So, yeah. His mic is actually just out of frame, just like this one is. And I have good sound quality on this microphone as well. But my microphone's like, I'm touching it. It's that close to me. It's just like right there. So if I move the camera up just that little bit, you'd see the microphone. So it's like just on the edge of the screen. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of quiet on his own channel. He needs probably just to bump his audio up a little bit, but can you have the audio go through Zoom instead of direct? That's actually what it's doing, is going through Zoom. And that's why yeah. And to think that Zoom was on the hot seat for security things. Yeah, Zoom did, we had a lot of missteppings because they didn't really have a secure platform. The thing, this would be an interesting discussion. Maybe I should do an updated video of this. I've done a video numerous times over the years, mostly back to my public speaking days, called Protecting the Digital You. What I've realized is a different perception of technology because I've been using it for so long. So I never think of doing things publicly or on the internet as a place where there's any such concept as privacy. That being said, when you come at it from that approach, it's a place where I'm controlling the narrative. If I didn't want you to know something about me online, I don't do it online. It's things that like I keep offline. We got into a discussion earlier today of, different events I was at, and that those pictures are not uploaded anywhere online. They are not indexed anywhere online. I did not want them online in any way attached to my name. So I've had like separate pieces over the years that I've said, no, this is just stuff that I maintain privately. I don't have a concept that, oh no, some photo company got breached. That's not really an issue. The photos are never anywhere to be breached. And the same thing goes to Zoom. I wouldn't say anything on Zoom. I wouldn't say in a public mall. You know what I mean? Like you say things out loud where people can hear it. That's how I always have perceived the internet. Unless I truly know end to end, I trust the level of encryption being used. So it's a very different perspective. And because I'm always thinking in that way, it's not something I think about. I'm like, they're like, oh, Zoom's got a security problem. I'm like, yeah, I'm using it to record videos that I really hope get public. Maybe someone else will get an extra copy of it. Like, I don't know. I don't think as much about it, but I think about it from the security standpoint, but I realize a lot of regular users just make the assume secure, assume private, and then they find out that Facebook's reading all their messages. Yeah, prior to 2020, Zoom is not that old of a company. They got popular quick by having all the right features and a product demand that ramped up simultaneously. So that's really what made the difference for Zoom, is this combination of all of a sudden there's a demand. Hey, who's got the right feature set? It wasn't Teams. It wasn't Google. And matter of fact, Google had features they kept taking away. So here comes Zoom going, we have all these cool features. And so Zoom became this really popular product like very quickly at the beginning of 2020. Hey, thanks from Riley Chase in the HostiFi community. So I did a recent video discussing the events at UniFi, which I sometimes don't know why I read the comments. Like, there's just dumb things that I hear in there. People are like, oh, you're just giving Ubiquity a pass. I'm like, what? Should I just rant, rage, and scream? Go watch some other Scream tuber who just wants to be ranty. I just said it sucks. They handled it bad. They shouldn't have handled it bad. I don't know what more people want me to add. I'm not telling you that I think it's okay they did it. I think it's bad they did it. It's the same thing when people asking my thoughts on, UniFi is putting ads for the Dream Machine. Yeah, I complained about that on Twitter. I don't know, whenever the last update was, quite a while back. I said, this is stupid. And people are like, yeah, well, do a video on it. And I'm like, why? It's stupid. I don't really have anything more to say. I wish they didn't do it. Tom, you need to rage more about Ubiquity putting ads in the controller. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it'll do any good. The users in the forum say it's stupid. I say it's stupid. Everybody I know doesn't like it. The only people who like it is Ubiquity. Nobody else likes it. I don't think there needs to be a video on it. I'm not surprised by it. Then people say, well, now you gave them a pass because you said you're not surprised. I'm like, no, I'm just not surprised by the behavior of the company to try to sell more product with current product. I mean, it seems like an expected behavior, and it's a learned behavior. You look at companies like Microsoft who stick Candy Crush in the start bar. I wonder where they got the idea from. Ubiquity's like, what other companies misbehave in this way? Doesn't make it right, but yes, other companies misbehave in that way, and I disagree with it there too. Anyways, I'm a little bit more ranty today, right? Do I have a response to the response? They hardly had a response. I actually added it to the links in my video for Ubiquity. It's not much of a response. I don't know. They're like, yeah. I don't know. I forgot all what it said. I read it this morning early and then kind of said, it's a PR marketing and blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, Apple forcing you for the U2 album. Yep. Yep. Yes, if you're running your own controller, you could probably block certain things so it doesn't pull those ads in. I think I haven't really dug into how to get the ads out of Ubiquity. There's probably some way to do it. There's probably some blocking I can do. There's probably some sinkholing if it's not embedded and it's actually pulling externally. I have a feeling it might be embedded. I have not looked, but my guess is that. Maybe Riley Chase has some more insight into that. But honestly, who's looking at it? I mean, the only people, it's not like the customers log into their system and go, oh, look, it suggests I should buy new tools or a UDM Pro, I think is what it advertises. And they click on it and go buy one. I hope that's not what's happening. It's one of those things that I'll go, ignore. All right, let me change this person's settings on this port because that's what I'm here for. And the argument to go away from Ubiquity and say, people saying, well, I'm just going to go to someone who's all cloud all the time and lock into their system. The problem is there's not a strong, good alternative. I still haven't gotten around to the full TP-Link review. We got it sitting in the other room. We've still been playing with it and testing it. Riley Chase did say, all right, people have tried to block the advertisers in there, and yeah, okay, so even the CSS classes were randomized. So you could probably do some custom add-in CSS within Chrome as an extension to be able to hide it, but that's a dumb workaround, and I don't care enough to do that. I don't feel any confidence at all in a UniFi VoIP phone system. I'm going to throw that out there. I have not used it, but there's nothing that has made me go, wow, I want to use it either. I don't really have a lot of excitement about it. Could you use an Nginx reverse proxy and replace it with a dummy? You could do anything. I mean, I'm not going to. I don't really. That seems like a whole lot of work for a whole lot of nothing. TP-Link is okay. TP-Link's website, last I checked. Matter of fact, this has been a part of the review that's kind of annoying. The links we had originally were checking, now we're broken again. So their website's broken. They have some of the same shortcomings as UniFi, like the lack of ability to assign multiple IPs to WAN. So you come right off the rip with some of those problems. You have a slightly confusing website and a lack of availability. Last I checked, it's not like you could bulk order any of these. And there's no proven track record of reliability. So there's going to be another question is, how reliable are they over time? That's something we'll have to answer by putting some in. But TP-Link is not the company. They're kind of like a company like, hey, look, there's a market gap. Let's go fill it for a little while. Are they committed to the product long term? I don't know. I don't have an answer on that. And one of the things people have pointed out are, I see Aruba and Ruckus, but one of the things about Aruba, Ruckus, Cambium, I'm always saying their name wrong, Cambium, they all make good products, but they're not in the same price category, and that's really what it starts coming down to is that cheaper price category. Now, I did learn, and I just haven't had time to dig into it, Cambium does offer a self-hosted controller, so you can use their is it Maestro? CM Maestro, I think is what the Cambium one is. You can use a self-hosted controller with them, and it's kind of on my to-do list to look at. I know a few people that really like their product, but the big picture for that company, I don't know. Like, are they easy to buy price point wise? Are they easy to get through resellers? That's becomes sort of the problem with some of these other companies. Matter of fact, one of the things I did when I was talking about some of the UniFi alternatives, digging into the Ruckus stuff, was confusing. And someone said, oh, you're looking at old versions of documentation. I'm like, well, Googling it didn't help, and their website didn't help. And that's where some of the problems come in. UniFi's website's actually better about telling you about their products than some of these companies that charge more money. And they also have all these reseller deals. They don't offer direct sales. UniFi offers direct sales. One of the reasons they're going to remain popular. I don't know why one of these companies doesn't wake up and become a direct seller going, hey, we don't need to put middlemen that complicate things. We could actually sell a product directly because the internet, it exists. Once these companies start realizing that, that's when Ubiquiti will see some competition, where you can easily go and buy some of these. Some do, some don't, but let's go to Aruba. That's one of them I actually did review. Play around the nurse site real quick. Products. They have a buy now button. There's one. Simplify. All right. Learn more about our access points. Difference. All right. Somewhere I can buy it, right? Find a partner. Yeah, find a partner. That sounds like an easy way to buy a product. So go down here. Want to get started? Contact us. All right. Somewhere I seen find a partner. I skipped over it, but it's once again, these are some of the problems. Because these other companies are not offering direct sales models, they're missing a boat on this. And a lot of people just want a direct sales model going, please don't make me sign up for partner programs. Don't make me buy minimums. Can I just buy 10 access points? Oh, contact us. Let me have a salesperson drive me nuts. That's what I need. More salespeople to annoy me. Business email, postal code, region, area of interest. I just want to buy a part. Come on, guys. Oh, let's go to Ruckus and see if they offer it. What is that one Ruckus called? Unleashed. So let's get some Ruckus Unleashed. Let's buy them. There's their support, documentation, which, by the way, Oh, that's CommScope. Is this support.ruckus wireless? All right. I want to buy one, though. Where do I buy it at? Someone, what's the link? It certainly didn't come up through a search. I don't even, can you even buy these on Amazon? Whoops. Okay, cool, you can. Now, here's the next question. Is this one the one that's, how many access points does this one support? These were some of the other questions that weren't absolutely clear when looking through their documentation. So tell me I'm wrong about any of this. It's okay. Let me know. Everyone, I see Corey Thompson here. I hate dealing with issues. I can't buy direct. Yes, it's just annoying. Chris at Crosstalk has done a lot of Cambium stuff, so Aruba use pricing is good. I need to be able to, when a client says I need a couple hundred access points installed, to be able to quickly get a price on a couple hundred access points. When it's confusing and you're looking at reseller programs and everything in between, it's just annoying. Yeah, then Genius is on there too. This is one of the things that's UniFi is a standout. The fact that they let people buy their product directly, as if the internet didn't exist, is how these other companies make you feel. They make you go, and trust me, if I've signed up, we've signed up for reseller programs. They're always terrible. I don't know any of them that are good. It's even one of the reasons we like, hey, look whose shirt I'm wearing, Huntress Labs. You know what Huntress Labs has? A direct sales process that's really easy to deal with. They have minimums. This is a thing you do have to deal with buying some of the software as a service companies. They're not trying to sell to home users. That's why they have minimums. This is how they keep their support good, by not selling to the person that wants 2 licenses, but people that want hundreds or thousands of licenses. So they have a direct sales model. That's great. That's one of the reasons I like Huntress. It makes them easy to deal with. Some of these other companies are like, oh, you got to sign up for our reseller program through, Pax8 or what's that other big company? I can't remember their name. We signed up for one of them back a long time ago, and I was just like so confused talking to them about their reseller program. And we're just like, this doesn't make any sense at all. Aruba's on Amazon, but usually not all their products. So that's where it gets really confusing. I can't, why the name is on the tip of my tongue. One of the big vendors that's a reseller, and everyone goes through their reseller program. Pax8 is one. There's a couple other ones, but Pax8's more for software reselling. Which, back to software reselling, especially when you're doing B2B. Like B2C is already going direct sales. B2B is like, hold on, we need a middleman in between. Actually, one of my friends, he negotiates deals for Cisco, and we're talking like $2-3 million annual recurring revenue deals. And we were talking about how he gets to talk to Cisco directly, but then everything gets dropped through a reseller. The reseller does the contract wrong. The negotiations have to go back to Cisco to figure out who's actually sent the contract wrong. Did Cisco send it to the reseller wrong, or did the reseller program screw up themselves? And it's funny, if he could actually talk about where he works, which is part of the problem, he can't. It's just crazy. Like some of my technical friends that work at high level positions are just like, they're like, this is just stupid. He might even be watching this show right now, but he's like, the stories we have over a beer are just like how dumb all these reseller programs are and how difficult they make getting the job done. You negotiate the contract, then someone goofs it up, and you're like, hold on, why is there a middleman in between any of this? Like, who are you? Oh, we're the reseller that finishes the contract agreement for you. Okay, that's fine, finish it. Why'd you write it different than what Cisco said? Anyways, I'll stop ranting today. Those are the things you deal with as a business owner in IT that you're just like, this is such a stupid waste of time. Let's get off this topic because it's not productive. Let's talk about something productive. Because we're not going to solve the reseller program today. Throwing that out there, folks. We are not. This is something I want to talk about. I should do a video on this particular topic, and this will be a fun one, is web.com. Fireproof your backups. And this is literally fireproof backups. This is a picture of the data center. I actually like this picture because I didn't really understand, because of the perspective from the ground, how that data center looked. Like, I could see it looks like it's attached to other things. And this was a cool overhead picture of what's going on there. So that's the OVH. Let's see, OVH data center in Strasbourg, where part of their infrastructure was located. And this is a write-up. Now, the backups are interesting. That's fine, and we can talk about them in a second. The other thing I wanted to talk about, here's a company, very large, web.com, and they are using, through multiple data centers, Zen Orchestra. This is that debate I had with a few people, and I did that video of why use XCP-ng, and people are like, oh, it's not used in enterprise markets. You know, it's some new product out there. And I'm always like, clients don't always want to talk about what they use to manage their infrastructure, especially large corporate ones. But here's a large enterprise level company with multiple data centers, multiple locations. The OVH was one of them, not the only one they had. And they use the Zen Orchestra to manage all the servers and back them up to the multi-cloud environment, all using Zen Orchestra. And I think this is kind of a fun, great example of using something that's that big, you know, that much infrastructure, that many servers with a multi-cloud system, and showing the scale at which XCP-ng can operate. And people saying it's not ready for enterprise. I'm like, we know, because we do consulting. We see enterprise companies using this. We've done the work with them. It's cool that you can use it in your home lab, but yes, it does scale and directly competes with companies like VMware for large multi-cloud infrastructure, handling backup and management. So it's kind of a neat article. I might do a video on it because I want to talk about what they did and then replicate it in a lab to kind of show how the data moves back and forth. Let's see. Yeah, the OVH data center company, they had a big fire. But there's also, and we'll pull this up right now because I was just working on this. Let's actually do a restore real quick. This is one of the things I'm going to do in the video. Is we get logged in. There we go. Move my head out of the way because I am not supposed to be there. I need to be down here. There we go. We'll go to the backups. And I just, where did I put it? Oh, it's a restore job. So I'm working on some new videos for Cockpit, and here is Cockpit that we can go and restore. I did a couple backups of it, and actually let's go ahead and make a new one. Now, these are two completely separate servers. This is a server that's running in the back in my rack. This has got Cockpit on there. And let's go ahead. And it says keep 3 versions. Let's go ahead and kick off a backup real quick. And we'll watch this backup go. And we're sending it to my TrueNAS Mini 3 lab. That's the destination. The TrueNAS Mini 3 is actually sitting right behind me. So you might be able to see some lights blinking on it, but it's dumping data over to it right now. So this is real-time backup for how this works. We're doing all this live, no editing. But successful backup, and we can refresh it now. So we kicked off the backup at 4:30. The backup ended right here. It took a few seconds, literally, to do this backup because this is a Delta backup. And this is one of the cool things you can do is these Delta incremental backups with Zen Orchestra. As a matter of fact, we should probably do one more. Let's log into this. What is the IP address on this? Let's just SSH into it. Oops. Yeah, I know, key change. There we go. All right. We should probably remove something. Actually, we'll -rf. Make sure you gotta do sudo apt-get auto remove. All right, nothing to really remove. Well, we did something to it. So we made some file changes at least. So there's some change that was made. Let's go ahead and kick that backup off again. So we got more file changes to it. All right, and we'll watch the process. We can go over to the backups in here. And this is one of those things that I really like about XCP-ng. It's a complete system to do all of these backups. So 432, there we go. It's started. In a few seconds, it'll do the delta, get rid of the extra deltas on there, and be complete again. Let's look over the comments while we wait for this to complete, which won't be long. Oh, let's see. Implemented a few dozen APs. Okay, you guys are talking about access points. Fun stuff. So, all right, let's go over and look at it here because you guys are still talking about access points. But successful. So here's another one, which not much changes. 34 megs and changes. That's all we really had here. Let's close this. This is in, go over here and we'll go overview, restore. And here's those backups that we did. So this is what they did to restore the backups. This is not a fast machine. The machines it came from were fast, but this is my other lab machine that is actually sitting behind me on the floor. So here's that backup from 432. So let's go ahead and restore it and pick a storage destination. We'll have it generate a new MAC address, seeing as it's running elsewhere on the network. Just hit OK. And we'll watch the restore process. So spinning away. We can watch it happen right here. It'll happen pretty quickly. So if we go over here, it's going to take about 53 seconds left to get this whole VM restored. Now, the one thing they commented on the article was it took a few hours. Well, when you're moving data between data centers and large VMs, it's not going to happen. The Delta only has to do incremental differentials when you're doing the backups, but if you have to do some type of full restore to another data center location, well, you are definitely going to be limited in the bandwidth that you have between those data centers. So there are some things that will take time. So one of the reasons you actually build the core operating system and your data store as separate pieces. You can use some type of maybe bucket type storage for your data set stores that may be very large, but the VM that actually controls the operating system can be built in a much smaller system and then completely imaged and backed up like this here. So overall, it's going to take 2 minutes to restore this. It's almost done. We'll jump over and answer a few questions in the comments here. Let's see. Yeah, someone saying, Chris saying XCP-ng backups are fantastic. Yes, if you have them nice over a 10 gig connection with some fast drives, definitely they restore rather quickly. Matter of fact, I'm gonna leave that pulled up real quick. Yep, 1 minute remaining. So all this is in real time. Normally I edit this part and I just fast forward to let you know it took 2 minutes into the future. 2 minutes is a long time if you're just watching a bar go across. I did tweet the 4090 video. That was actually pretty cool. That was a good April Fool's video. I like April Fool's videos that are, well put together. Don't try to trick you into something that you get your hopes up for, and then get you let down. So captive portal solutions that work with pfSense. Use pfSense for captive portal. We've used this in several places. pfSense actually works rather well for captive portal. I think it was wrong. I don't think that was a minute, and it's already done. So let's go back and look at the VMs on here. Oh, it's not merged yet. Oh no, there it is. Cool. Let's fire up the VM so we can log into it. But pretty straightforward here. The VM's now starting on a completely different server, restored. Matter of fact, we can go while this is booting. We go over here to backup system, and we look at the restore process. So we go to restore. Let's look at the logs. Yeah, 2 minutes. So it took 2 minutes and 20 seconds to restore. Pretty reasonable time there. We'll go back over here, and it's up and running. Look at the network. It's going to get a new IP address because we did tell it to regenerate the MAC address. Plus, if you put two systems with the same MAC address, you're going to have a bad time. But we can just log in real quick while it's waiting to get an IP. Actually, what network is it attached to? I don't think this network has a... That's the problem. That VLAN does not have anything. I think, which one? Oh, no, it does. Okay, E0 is the right one. So, cool. Done. Ready to go. Back to restored. It only however long it took me to get that data. Now, it's just one of those things when you're looking at XCP-NG, it is a complete system. That's one of the things I like about it, because people say, how do you back it up? I'm like, well, we use Zen Orchestra. Well, you don't use Veeam. You don't load some third-party utilities to try to get the backups done. I'm like, why would I do that? I can back everything up, including Windows, all inside of here without having to rely on some third-party plugins. It can send me notifications and status, and we can even do things like this. Actually, let me switch, because I don't know what it'll show if I do this. Servers. There we go. You can have one Zen Orchestra. If we go to settings and servers, you'd see it's connected to multiple pools all at the same time, which then allows me to filter for my XCP-NG Dell Lab pool right here. Same with the hosts. If I look at the host, there's that Dell Lab. And by the way, this Dell is not particularly fast. This is Dell Optiplex Desktop 9020, so nothing all that impressive for speed. It does work rather fast, though, to get these type of things done. But maybe I'll dive into and do a video specifically on that topic. So something else to play with. If you needed to move a VM from one XCP address to another and keep the same IP address, how would you handle the networking? I would probably have it set to static IP, like we do, and we move it from one host to another because either A, they have a static IP, or B, when you move them between them, we have a DHCP reservation for some devices that start, or some servers that start up inside of XCP-NG. So pfSense always gives them the same IP address because their MAC address doesn't change. So when I move them between servers, wherever server they move on, they automatically get the same MAC address. Now, what I did do on this restore, because I was doing a restore of a VM, you can check the box on the restore whether or not you want to regenerate the MAC address. That's up to you. You don't have to. I chose to because the other VM is still running on the same network. So I said regenerate the MAC address to solve that problem. You can set up VXLAN and GRE on these systems. You can build bridging with their backend vSwitch system. That is an option on there. I don't think I've done any videos on it. It's a relatively new feature. There's a little bit trickery to getting it. Not really trickery, just a lot of little things that need to be done to get it set up, but it is a supported feature. You can't get Cockpit to show iSCSI information. I've not tried. It's on my to-do list to try, but it's not something I've tried yet. I never use virtual machines in FreeNAS or TrueNAS. I don't think the virtual machines currently in FreeNAS or TrueNAS are that great. I've tried them. I don't do videos on them after I tried it. I would have not done a favorable video on it. I'm a huge TrueNAS fan. It's just that particular function, not my favorite. Let's see. How does one import OVH and not OVA files in Zen? I don't know if you can. There are some formats that may not natively import. I have a video on using things like Clonezilla. So import them in something that they do work with and then Clonezilla them over. That's one of the easy solutions for it. That's a problem you will run into from time to time, that some formats may not be 100% compatible with importing into other hypervisors. That's just kind of a normal thing. The public IPs are routed to one location if you want to use it. Now, public IPs are a whole different. You have to have, in order to get the public IPs moved between locations, you have to be in control of your ASN and BGP settings to be able to do that. So if I want my IP address blocks that are assigned to me somewhere to be assigned to me somewhere else, that's not handled by XCP-NG. That's a BGP and your autonomous system numbers. That's a completely separate thing altogether for public IP moving. And you have to have, I mean, it's an enterprise feature really, because it's not like you can call up your internet provider such as Comcast and go, hey, I'm moving to Texas from Detroit. I'd like my public IP to move over here. I am uncertain if they are able to fulfill that request or even will care to listen to you unless you're on some of their enterprise level programs like fiber. Don't export out of VMware. I have a video on how to copy from VMware over to XCP-NG. Clonezilla is an easy way to do that. Yeah, if you tried Clonezilla and you tried with 2 different versions on the receiving end, you will have a bad time. Even though you have to have your own block of IPs, that's what you're moving. Yeah, I mean, if you have your own block of IPs, it's just a matter of you working it out with the upstream providers in doing the BGP route announcements of where those IPs are. So that's hopefully makes sense. But nonetheless, they had a blog post, and I tweeted this as well. I'll pull it up. It's pretty cool. The XCP-NG also, where'd it go? There you go. They are rewriting and recoding, refactoring all the code, I guess you could say. This is a bug fix, actually, or was it? Actually, it's on this blog. News. This one. They're updating the process. This is actually a lot of optimization going into XCP-NG now. They're breaking down the processes and taking better advantage of more cores to complete the processes. There's a lot of retooling going on in there. So they're able to back up faster, back up simultaneous virtual machines faster. This is just going to be all kinds of cool stuff. Avoid booting VMs with duplicated MAC. Yes. To avoid the issue in your infrastructure, you'll now get an alert if you try to boot a VM and a MAC address already is using your infrastructure. There's all these little things like that they do to help save you. This is also kind of cool. They do offer load balancing. So there's a lot of new features in there. I'm probably going to do an updated whole tutorial video. I started with XCP-NG. Now, there's still the people going, what about Proxmox? And I don't have a problem. I think Proxmox is great for home lab. I think Proxmox is especially great for people who don't want the large scale complexities that can come with Xen Orchestra. But Xen Orchestra is one of those places that I believe that as a tool, Xen and XCP-NG as a whole scales much bigger than Proxmox has the ability to. So yeah, for home lab going, I'll probably never have more than 5 or 6 servers. Then fine. When you start talking about, we're going to run a data center here, I need replication to another data center in another country, you're talking about a different use case for it. And although I have the home lab channel, I don't just do home lab stuff. We actually consult on enterprise jobs. We do, that's a little bit different than some of the other channels out there, at least I think, that a lot of them don't actually work in the enterprise. They review things, they play with it, but they may not have day jobs that put them in there. I mean, YouTube is my extension of my business, but I kind of joke it's like a hobby, but I talk about what I do in my business on it. So it's not just me throwing together tutorials, and I'm less consumer focused, but I mean, I still want to help out people to get into home lab because there's a big crossover for building the home lab and then getting a job in enterprise. Is live migration an option? Yes. You can do live migration too. You can do live migration between hosts in a pool. The hierarchy of XCP-NG is pool and then hosts. So each pool you have, as long as Xen Orchestra can talk to each pool, you don't have to have those pools know anything about each other than their ability to talk to Zen Orchestra, and you could do live migration between hosts or between pools without a problem. I don't use GNS3, so I haven't tried it. I mean, I know people ask about it. I just don't use it. I always build my networking using real hardware, so I've never learned on tools. Matter of fact, most of the time I learned networking was probably long before GNS3 existed. I mean, I don't have a problem. Like, I don't have a reason to tell you not to use it. But I don't plan to do any videos on it because I don't use it, and I don't usually do videos on things I don't use because the learning curve. I have to spend a lot of time learning something that I don't actually use, so my understanding of it's not as good. But I know there's at least some people probably doing some GNS3 videos. Hello from Florida. We have a few people here from Florida. Florida, Switzerland, all over the place. I don't think we've seen too many people from too far south, but at least a few of them from local. I see you guys are still talking about moving the subnets. Yes, when you move between data centers, it's a very different type of situation. Buenos Aires? I'm probably saying that wrong. Central Texas, Floridians. It's so much warmer there. It was snowing here. I don't think it was snowing in Florida. Smash the like button. Yes, that too. All right, what was the next thing I wanted to talk about? Business talk. I don't know. I didn't really put together any notes for business talk today. Matter of fact, I am not doing the live stream for a too long day. I have kind of a lot going on. Mash the like button. Mash it, smash it, whatever. Any of those are always good. Yes, Zen Server is the core. XCPNG is the project. And it used to be a project from the Citrix world, and it's kind of moved over. It was respun into an open source project by the team over at XCPNG. Nope, I don't do crypto. I know people get all excited about crypto. It doesn't interest me. Like the tech side of things is interesting. The thought of buying an object and hoping an object or a commodity goes up or down arbitrarily because you bought it, whether you're an antique dealer or you're someone buying crypto, and the people build all these philosophies around it, which is fine. But that part of the crypto, I mean, hey, I like money. Don't get me wrong. I like when I buy something for less and then I sell it for more. That's not a bad thing. But it's not an interesting thing to me. I have no passion around it. So you don't really see me talking much about crypto. It's kind of it's neat, but the technology, I think blockchain's a really cool technology applied to certain things to be able to track stuff. But back to the just possessing something and hoping it becomes increasing in value, not by any other means other than you owned it for some amount of time and now it's worth more. Okay, cool. And it's a big guessing game, especially with crypto. Some people get lucky and bought low and got in early and made a bunch of money. And I love them. I love when they have this lack of self-awareness. Like, oh, I was seeing the vision that it was going to be worth all this money. And I just kind of laugh about it. And I'm just like, probably, maybe. Or you just got lucky and bought a bunch and made a bunch of money when you sold it. So, Howard, thank you for the donation of $9.99. Much appreciated. Am I an AI? Could be. Not sure. Netgate WireGuard, I covered that. There's a lot of stuff in there that's confusing. It's a big It's a big mess. Based on what I've read, it looks like the person they hired just did a bad job of reading the code. So Jason Domefield, the writer of WireGuard, took that code, grabbed it, and started fixing it. I mean, there's all the drama, and we can go talk about name calling in between, and they did this, and he did that, and he said this, and he said the code was jinky or something. And I'm like, but honestly, let's talk about it. Was there problems? Yeah, we found some problems, so he's working on fixing them. They found, the only one I've heard about specifically is a problem with the buffer overflow if you're using jumbo frames, but jumbo frames don't transport across the internet. So while yes, it needs to be fixed, it's not a it's not an emergency. Shouldn't be in there. It should have been fixed. It should have not ever gotten a code like that. But it's not like, oh my gosh, it's a 0 day that everyone's going to get pwned in about 5 minutes because they have it turned on. It's one of those. It's an edge case, which is still bad that someone overlooked that. So here's the crazy part that I look at too. This is not just this particular project, but this goes on in other projects as well. There were a number of people looking at this code. This code was publicly available since August of 2020, and it took until March before someone found that. That's what scares me about some of these projects, that there's not enough good coders out there that have the time to find it. Even when we find some of these flaws in software, and look at Exchange, that's a great example. Here's a company, Microsoft, with an absolute immense amount of resources, and there's some suspicion, but no proof, that the viewing of the Exchange source code allowed people to find that hafnium bug that was in Exchange, and that hafnium bug was over 10 years living in code. No one found it, but when they did, obviously it ran like wildfire, but it was some really easy, arbitrary ways to get into Exchange that sat dormant for years. It's kind of like, one smart person and thousands of average people are coding all the time. And we need that one smart person to come up with, oh, you did this wrong. How did an entire team of people miss that code flaw for so long? And like I said, this plays out repeatedly through the industry. And it's kind of a big issue of, we find all these little bugs. We look at some of the bugs like the SSL bugs or the Poodle bugs and some of the ones from years ago that we found in the way that certain transport layers were misimplemented. And you're like, wow, how did so many people look at this, especially when it's an open source code project, for years and no one noticed it? So it's kind of interesting. We don't use AI in our business, no. Yeah, the return 0 code was the other one that was in there. But that's kind of the thing. It's, how long was that grub bug there? Yeah, there was one in grub recently. I don't remember the details of it, so. Well, yeah, so I see someone said it was sloppy coding. How did something sit in public view with people commenting on it for that many months before someone stepped up and said something? That is just confusing. That's the part I'm confused about the process at all. I mean, you can argue that the person did bad code. We got that. There's people doing bad code all the time. There's people stopping the bad code from getting in the kernel. How does it sit in public review for that many months? So it's, yeah. I mean, Jason Domefield had to be aware when it went for public review. He just didn't look at it either until March. So submitted for public review in August, Jason Domefield, why did he decide in March to dive into it? Why not before March? I don't know. And that's the part that's kind of missing from many of the articles, is like what the timelines of why no one really dove into it. I don't know. That's the part it's speculative. I don't have an easy answer for it. Yeah, the whole internet runs on a block of a load of wooden blocks with one linchpin written by some guy 30 years ago that no one reviewed the code. So yeah, if it works, don't touch it. It's definitely a thing. So I don't know. It's yeah, it's definitely a mess. But like I said, people want to get caught up mostly in the drama of it. I kind of navigate around drama because I just don't participate. It's not just in regards to any particular company. I try to focus on action items, what we can do to change it, what we can do to fix it. You kind of have to do that even if you want to run a business, because if not, you'll stand around commiserating over complaining about things as opposed to actually looking for action items and getting done. That's just the way I always work. Oh, yeah. I avoided cringe work parties and anything related to that. I loved hiding. The coolest thing when I worked in corporate was there were only 3 people in the whole place that had door card access to my office, well, the server room. I had a small office in the server room, but I had an office in the main part of the building, and I used to go to the server room because no one could get in there. If someone got in there, that meant they were the CEO of the company who had the swipe card and never, he came in there once in a while to talk to me. One of the night shift guys who wasn't there until the night shift, and one other person during the day shift, I think it was the vice president, had a key to the server room. So I could go in there and hide. I didn't want to deal with people. I'm like, there's a bunch of people doing something outside of there. Please send me an email and I will respond. That was a discussion today about responding to email over in one of the forums. I'm like, I spend a lot of time responding to emails, but that's a huge function of what I do, is try to keep things at inbox 0, try to reply to all the emails. I prefer that type of workflow. It's also why I like forums more than Discord. That's why I barely ever in my Discord channel, but people notice I reply to forum posts. I don't reply to some of the, I've had to, as my forums got bigger, choose not to reply to some forum posts because people ask obscure things. Someone asked about how to remove a virus on Windows 10, and I'm like, I'm not going to reply because that's not what my forums are for. So, yeah. It's funny if you, so I see you say email is functionally broken. You have to curate your email. You have to spend time unsubscribing occasionally to things, and you have to have a workflow around it, or it just becomes some pile of unread things. I also don't reply to every email because there's a lot of worthless emails people send me. Even some people, I don't understand, because I have a few people I communicate with on email that I've met through YouTube, but one of them emailed me, and I'm like, I don't know how to email them back. They're like, they emailed me today asking if I did a video on UniFi. And I'm like, for the effort you took on the email, you could have just looked at my YouTube channel or my Twitter. So I didn't, some people, I'm like, oh, you're asking me an odd question that, like, the video is pretty popular right now, so I posted it yesterday. Ooh, which platform do we recommend? We like G Suite. We support G Suite, and we support the Microsoft Office 365 platform. So both. It really depends on your use case. I prefer the G Suite, like if it's my choice, and I own this company, so it gets to be my choice. But the other option of using Office 365 sometimes is dictated by the enterprise and line of business apps that companies use. So a lot of our clients are using Office 365 because that's what is a better fit for their workflow. For me, like I said, I like G Suite. So you have to look at what you're doing and decide what works for you. Yeah, some people like Zimbra too. Google Workspace makes us less angry. Oh yeah, it's way easier to support. That is for sure. It is way easier to do. I have no pranks for April Fools. I am not much of an April Fools person. Not really my thing. Yes, if you have a bunch of, especially clients, especially older clients, as in generationally aged clients, those people love Outlook, and their goal is to use Outlook until the day of retirement and never change and fight any suggestion thereof. So yes, those clients who are just in love with Outlook, that's part of life. They're not switching. You put them on Office 365 and you wash your hands of it because they love Outlook. I don't get the whole dog fooding thing. I see Garris said, I prefer Google, but customers tend to prefer Office, so you use Office. I don't like using it. My customers really like QuickBooks. I don't like QuickBooks. I don't feel less connected to my clients because I don't use it, because I think all the problems with it are dumb, and so we fix it for clients because that's what they like to use, but it's not our choice to use it. I mean, yeah, people use what you want, honestly, but I don't think the reason should be I like using what my clients use. I already commented on the PF Sense WireGuard situation, so roll back in the video, Pete. I don't need to rant about that again. Magic 8 Ball says Outlook does not look good. Yes. You fell for a prank on Unraid. Yeah, I haven't seen, the only videos I like so far that I've seen today, and not that I've even looked for April Fool's videos, I've seen some silly ones posted on, a couple tech marketing companies posted some silly ones. I can't remember which company it was. They posted this thing called Fool, to get where you just put users, keep them with busy works in simulations. I seen some play on stuff that was, I chuckled a little bit. It wasn't good enough to share, I thought. Use what you want and fix what your customers want. Yeah, pretty much. I don't use OpenStack. Will Starlink kill Wisp? I don't have a use case for OpenStack, for those wondering, so it's not on my to-do list. But the Starlink killing Wisp, I don't know. I think the latency is probably better on Wisp than Starlink, so that may be an issue, but I think Starlink will undoubtedly cut into the Wisp market, but it also opens up another market of people who didn't even have access to a Wisp. There's still a lot of areas that are very spotty internet, so I think it's going to open up areas a lot better to just generally having the internet. So I overall like it. I don't have a plan to get it because I don't have a use case for that. Someone's like, but you can do videos on it. I'm like, there's enough people. Chris from Crosstalk, he's got a bunch of videos on Starlink. Awesome. He does great videos. So RV folks will love it when you have roaming. Yes. So yeah, I don't know. Yes, OpenSense and MikroTik questions haven't flown by yet, have they? Yeah, YouTube has definitely, like, once it got to general release. Well, and here's the thing, sometimes you're chasing views on YouTube. You have to stop and think about what's the goal on YouTube. Do you have a conversion goal? Do you have an education goal on it? I'm more of the education goal on YouTube. I like to get some word out there. But some people, if you're just chasing numbers, when there were very few Starlink videos, any Starlink video got a lot of views. So now that everybody's trying to do it, there's a lot of Starlink videos, and the interest level goes down because more people have it now, more people are trying to find out about it. And whether or not you will be blessed by the YouTube algorithm is a whole nother thing, whether or not your video will become some trending video. But I try to focus on non-clickbait educational content that I put out here, so I get a different type of viewer and but people seem to like my videos more as opposed to just chasing the views. And I know some people got the Starlink and I think they were just chasing the views, and I seen so many Starlink videos and I noticed they didn't get as many views, but I don't really chase views as much. If I chase views, I would just do clickbait all day, because clickbait works. You know why clickbait works? Click here to find out. That's Cellular not a great option. I don't know. This is tea, in case you can't see the little dangling thing over here. I drink coffee in the morning this is 5 o'clock Eastern time, 5 p.m. Eastern time right now. So I coffee. I'm done for the day with coffee. So yes, and we throw a lot of educational content out there, which does land us clients. So yes, Travis became a client because he found us on YouTube. He just happens to also be in Michigan too. So that's another part of the conversion. We tell people like, hey, if you'd like to hire us, here's a tutorial on this. And by the way, if you'd like to hire us, yep, we have a whole website where you can hire us. It is this would be a herbal tea. I'm trying to remember which one this is. This is the licorice tea. The name of it eludes me at the moment. It's some type of licorice tea, though. Not Long Island tea. No. Hit the like button, all of you. Jay is a very serious person. I've known him for a number of years. He has a sense of humor, but he's got like a serious side to him when he's very focused when he works. So yeah. Replace tea with coffee. The only good tea is I drink coffee all morning. I love coffee. Then I switch to water, and then I go back and forth between water and tea, and then somewhere during the evening it switches to whiskey sometimes. So I do like whiskey. That's the other one. And if you didn't know that from the How They Got Hacked videos, those are usually done when we were doing them. Xavier is focusing on some projects with cybersecurity. No one's asked me in a little while. Well, no one's asked here in a little while. I still get messages about the How They Got Hacked stuff, and we really haven't had, well, I should say Xavier hasn't really had the time to do any of that. Oh, let's see. That's at least one more thing. I'm going to do a video on this too. This is actually there's two things I'm working on. One of them is Cockpit. I'm doing an updated video on that, but I'm also going to be doing an updated video on, let me go ahead and get logged in first. The Moments system. I know a lot of people, and back to that privacy thing I talked about at the very beginning, make sure I didn't back up anything weird to it, because I do weird things occasionally. There we go. All right. This is the Moments application, and this is built into Synology. So this is just the Synology NAS, the one behind me. I have this synced with my phone, so I take pictures on my phone. They upload to here, and yeah. This is pretty cool. A lot of people ask about, getting Google out of their life or how to back things up. And Synology's got a lot of things that make that easy. Matter of fact, my cousin, I was up north in northern Michigan, and this is something that we were going to be working on together, is a collaboration video, because I got her a Synology so she can start with all of her YouTube channel and videos, which I have pictures of her and her dogs. And this is a cool thing that you fish dogs with. It's called a flirt stick. And I did not expect that to be the name, but it's like a fishing thing, and you fling it around and the dog goes crazy. And because those type of dogs are like cats. Anyways, but this is a way you can back up things, have all of your data that you're in control of, and a lot of people look for ways like, how do you have Google not in your life and not indexing things and not having all of your data? Also, people are looking for easy ways to back up that don't have the limits that Google has imposed recently on their new backup of their photo backup system, the photos.google.com. So I'll be talking about the Synology Moments. It actually works for sharing. It gives location information and some of the other things that you like, but you are in control of all of that, which is actually really cool. And it has things like this. If we type dog, hey, it finds dog. So without indexing or tagging, it will find photos. If I type, I think I got motorcycle pictures in here. If I type motorcycle, it finds pictures I took of my motorcycle in there. So yeah, they upload right from the phone, and right into here. Even when you're remote, they have remote connects on there. So I'll be doing some topic centers. Is there anything particular angle that I should cover on there that people like about that? Let's see. Oh, my cousin's channel has gone to the Snow Dogs, in case anyone's wondering. Is there a version of Moments that will not run on Synology? I have no idea. I know this one does run on Synology. I don't know if there's versions that don't run. Yes, Synology I've done some Synology backup videos, and this is actually a pretty cool. There's not anything like that I'm aware of for FreeNAS, TrueNAS, but back to the Synology does have their Moments application. They have a calendar. They have a lot of connectivity apps. I've only explored some of them. The Moments one is something I use because I do take a lot of pictures. And if you're concerned about privacy or don't want those pictures online, and this is still something to this day, if I take pictures, and I do have certain pictures tied to Google Photos, but there are other pictures I do not want tied to Google Photos. Therefore, you need somewhere private to store them. And Synology Moments is actually a pretty cool system for doing that. I like the way Synology has a nice photo system all integrated in. And I've done a video recently on backing up Synology with their C2 backup system to make a very inclusive backup. You can also use, more than just C2. I'm also going to be doing kind of a little bit of side topic, but someone asked about TrueNAS again. I am going to be doing a Backblaze TrueNAS video in the next week as well, because a lot of people have an interest in that. Synology and Active Directory, it does work together. So Synology does tie directly to Active Directory and works quite well for that. And vice versa. You can use Synology and I've not really used this. I think we tested it here, but it's not something we've used in production. But the opposite works, where you can have Synology be a central server for authentication. Ubiquity news on Reddit. I did a whole video about the Ubiquity news, so hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, you can. It works as a simple AD server. I know we've tested it here. Well, I should say my staff has tested it. I did not personally test it, but we didn't. We didn't do much with it. But that is, let's see, go into Synology, the package manager. Active backup. Oh, I've also done, and I'll mention this as well. This comes up from time to time, but we did do the active backup for Office 365 and active backup for G Suite. Those are also things we've done with Synology in terms of covering how they do backups and how they different ways you can use it. It's kind of neat because there's a lot of people are starting to realize more and more that you can't just put it in a cloud. You also have to back it up either to another cloud or back your cloud up local. And so I want to do some backing your cloud up local options and talk about that with as another thing that you can do with both Synology and TrueNAS. You can grab the data you have in the cloud and pull it all back down and keep a copy locally of everything. And, I'm looking at this like even for G Suite, so I was like, well, we have a lot of data in there. If something tragic were to happen, we'd lose a lot of data. So why don't we back up all of our G Suite here because we have it. Matter of fact, at some point it might land over here on a Storinator because there's a lot of data I can put on that Storinator. Yeah, a real AD server is substantially more advanced and feature rich than just a Synology server emulating it. So, Synology cloud backup products. The storage you pay for is you're not paying a license for the Synology backups. You do pay a fee for them holding on to the backups. But if you take the backups and have your own place to store them, like another Synology, you don't pay a license fee for that. So you pay a storage fee to the Synology. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up real quick because it's kind of, their pricing is public, by the way. No secrets here. I did a video on this already. I covered it with the backup, but right here's their pricing. So you got 1 terabyte, $70 a year. And yeah, you can, 13 terabytes will cost you $850 a year if you got 13 terabytes to back up. So type in the number of terabytes you have to back up and get your price. Pretty straightforward. I like the way they did it. It's easy. It's integrated. You put the credentials in a Synology, and you can back up multiple Synologies to a single account. It cumulatively has all of your data in there, so your storage pay is the cumulative across all the Synologies that you tie into it. I did a video on it. I think they did a nice job of integrating it. There is no good false alternative to Active Directory. Yeah, Travis, check out my video on C2. It's not a long video. I talk about how it works, how it restores. It's a nice system. We like it. So you can't, with another server other than Synology, you can send it elsewhere. You can send it to different places. I see people throwing suggestions. Yes, there are pseudo, like you can build your own false alternative, your free open source alternative to AD. None of them are like AD though. I mean, they're similar, but they are not the same. Matter of fact, one of the challenges you run into and why so many people use AD is because for line of business applications that a lot of clients use, Active Directory becomes the authentication server because someone writes, some application that the client uses. We have a carpet store. That's an example. The carpet store has their carpet store application to do all the things and do all the measurements and tell them what inventory is on there. It doesn't have a username password manager. It uses the Active Directory to manage the users. So as long as the user is valid and has rights to use it, they can use it. This is how a lot of companies set things up. So you can talk about free open source alternatives to AD, but it comes down to first asking, what are you going to do? Do you just need to manage some users? Oh, you need to have a line of business application that uses that to manage access rights inside of it. Well, you're not going to use some false alternative for that. And don't get me wrong, I'm a complete open source fanboy, advocate, enthusiast, use whatever adjective you'd like there. But I also have my other foot in the business world going, yeah, I can't just load Linux on everybody's desktop because that's not realistic. Yeah, you can use Synology Active Hyper Backup and a couple other features to land the data somewhere else. I think you can also mount. I want to do a crossover video talking about how to back up TrueNAS to Synology and how to back up Synology to TrueNAS. I think Synology to TrueNAS might be easier because TrueNAS only supports destinations that are, let's just say, more clear. But I want to play around a little bit. I think I have a couple ideas of ways to do it. The rsync module is the one I wanted to make work because rsync is a common language they speak, but it seemed to be harder to do in Synology, but easy to do in FreeNAS. I have to work on like the best methodology for it to make it simple. Now you can always, I say make it simple. There is a more advanced way you can do it by basically setting up keys on your TrueNAS system and setting up SSH. I wanted to be able to do it without having to SSH and set up keys because I wanted to be able to do it without going to the command prompt. It's actually kind of easy to do from the command prompt because you can just do an rsync over SSH and set something up as a cron job and it works fine. That does work, but I wanted to do something so both of them within the web interface and make it kind of an easy, here's the steps you follow to get these two servers talking to each other. It's so important to get your AD joined assets so they can resolve against AD DNS. Yes. That's that is an important thing. Yeah, I definitely sync things different. It's not syncing is what I still use for real-time backups. I love syncing for real-time backups of my data. For anything I don't store in G Suite, I have certain files I want synced. Matter of fact, one of the folders I have on my computer, actually me, well, anything in here interesting that I can't hide? Yeah, all these are fine, I think. Anyways, the stuff in here, for example, this LTS/bash scripts folder is part of syncing. So when I modify something or I'm playing around with a video, I start sometimes working from home doing this. And when I'm doing this, including that like tom ssh config file, which by the way is a alias to right there. When I edit my SSH config or modify something on my laptop, and it's instantly synced in real time as soon as I save that change over to my other systems. So I have certain things that are synced with sync things, so I never have to think about them. I have revisions of them, so they centrally talk to a TrueNAS server, but this is how I keep all my devices synced up. Also, if this laptop were to die, I don't go, oh, when was the last backup on it? The last backup is instantaneous. It's as soon as I save the file because SyncThing's running in the background and synchronizing the files all the time. The only time that would be an issue, of course, is if the laptop was offline, I changed files, and then it didn't get online for some reason. Yeah, then I would possibly lose things, but not, it's such an edge case. Pretty much if I'm using the laptop, it's usually online, just throwing it out here. So that's usually the use case for that. I still love SyncThing. It's one of my favorite tools for that because it also works with Windows. So it's not like when I used to do video, I'm sorry, not video, but photo editing a lot more for photography, I just was using Windows for that because the Adobe tools, Adobe Lightroom, etc., and some of those tools were a lot better. I used to use SyncThing even back then with my Windows computer. So I could copy everything on the Linux computer. As soon as I open it up in Windows, it would be synchronized and have everything there. Is SMB Samba AD controllers? Nah, I don't think they're that great anymore. I will be doing a new video on the Active Directory stuff, but I don't think there's much to it. I think they've made it substantially easier since the last time I did it. You just join it. So anytime we've been hired for consulting to fix TrueNAS and Active Directory, I think almost every time we've been hired for consulting to fix TrueNAS and Active Directory, the problem has been a screwed up Active Directory server, not a TrueNAS server. TrueNAS won't join. Well, neither will anything else. What's all this cruft over here? What's wrong with this? Why is this broke? It's usually not the fact that there's a problem with TrueNAS because TrueNAS has put the AD credentials in and pretty much away you go. I will do an updated video on it, but we usually find people who have problems with their Windows server we end up solving. I think there's probably ways to use some of the Azure AD with on-prem equipment. So there's ways to do it. Maybe I'll at some point do some videos on authentication. That way I can just say, I'm done talking about this. Here's a video on it. The problem is I don't really feel like setting up free IPA to try to explain. Maybe I'll just do an explainer video of why it's different and why it won't replace your Active Directory. Tom may not be able to prove you wrong, but I think there's ways you can, it may not work with the Azure AD. You would have to, it would be complicated. So Kyle, we'll just say Kyle's right. There's probably not any easy way to make that work. You need Azure AD Connect to synchronize your on-prem objects to Azure AD. That's the answer. That's the more complex. So yes. if you want something that does a gig, buy something that's, I don't know, an i5 or faster, and it shouldn't have a problem doing a gig. A modern i5. If you're running a home lab, I guess other than for learning, I don't know why you'd want to connect it to Azure. I guess it's just a learning experience. I mean, I get why they do it in the enterprise market. It's a great way to manage users. As a matter of fact, especially home users, I mean, I don't know. I guess if you like complicated network setups, it's a learning experience. I don't know. For my home lab stuff, I've never cared about tying it to single sign-on systems. SSO is becoming more popular, so there's definitely SSO methods that you could use. Matter of fact, both Microsoft and G Suite have nice SSO tie-ins. I mean, I do tie some things in for convenience to your G Suite SSO. From a management standpoint, that can be pretty handy to do. But is there a free test of Azure AD? I don't know. Does Azure still offer those free connection stuff anymore? When they first, years ago, they used to have, like back in 2017, I remember there was a big push for a bunch of free credits that got you a bunch of free cool stuff in Azure. But I think that is all long since gone. Make sure it wasn't anything important. Cool. All right. Wife was messaging me. Wasn't really important. She let me know the smoke detector needs a battery, apparently. I don't do a lot of stuff with Azure. My staff does more of it, in case anyone didn't know. in case Tom didn't come off as not knowing about Azure in this video, let me clarify this. Active Directory is not my specialty. It's not something I spend a lot of time working with. My staff works with it a whole lot more. So it's not. Oh yeah, my wife is probably greatly annoyed. But we also have vaulted ceilings at my house. So her annoyance will require a ladder. So she's not going to do it. She would take it down if she could, but she can't reach it. And she's afraid to climb up on a ladder. Oh, my home setup. Yeah, I haven't decided on that. So I have so little at home. I have like an access point in the rack I built. Let me see if I can find it. I want to do a wiring video of how I wired my house. I did document some of that. But I don't think I have much in the way. Let me try and find that picture. I have very little actually at my house. Somewhere, because me and my son built the rack. Because I did that video where me and him built the rack at my house. Where's it at? I at least took one or two pictures, so I got the video of it. So that's my basement. My basement's not finished. It's just big.
Just gonna roll around the basement in it. Can you skateboard it?
So, but somewhere I thought I had a picture of what it looked like. Maybe I don't. Oh, there it is. There. This is what's at my house. Not too exciting. There's my TrueNAS box. There's my Netgate SG2100. That is an Aruba instant on because I needed PoE. And this was there temporarily working on a project, and it's not there anymore. It's back over. I did a video with it since I took it back home. So this is my cool home lab techie setup. This is all the wires of my house. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one isn't a network drop. That one just is the feed that goes around to the back here. That's my whole home lab setup, man. Rate my lab. Not a lot there. What kind of AP does Tom use at home? Currently, Tom has. Yeah, well, that tiny little one is my offsite backup for some of the offsite backup for Biz, right? Yeah, there's not much at my house. That is not where you find much tech stuff. We'll just throw that out there. Here's all the UniFi equipment at my house. I have a in-wall UAP, so we got that. There we go. Put them bigger so they're easier to see. So I have the UAP ACLR, and we have a UAP in-wall HD. So the in-wall HD is so I have an extra network jack because I prefer to have my laptop hardlined in. And then we have my UAP AC. But this is also so when I'm in my home office, my wife works from home occasionally, and I want my phone to have the fastest connection. So in that room, I have the in-wall and then the ACLRs for the rest of the house, and that's it. There's nothing else there. I think I have a picture of it, though, of the in-wall. I bring that up because... Dun-da-da-da. This is in my basement. That is the in-wall in my basement. And one of the things that not everybody realizes is you don't need to mount it on a ceiling. I like the very clean, minimalist nature of things in my house. So I just set it right here between the rafters. I have a basement and then one story above. Now, putting a single access point is actually enough to cover the whole house and outside on my deck. And it reaches quite well without it being in there. So when you see my living room, you don't see any wireless. But apparently you do see a beeping fire alarm thing, smoke detector. Why store it at home at your house when you can store it at work and access it remotely? Because this is work. I'm at work now. We need the work where the data's at. We need the work elsewhere, because that's also synchronizing any changes from here to sync thing, go to that little TrueNAS box, and then synchronized when my laptop gets home to that one. Yeah, you don't need much. How do you do site surveys with the AP on the floor? You just put it, I put it centrally in the middle. It's in the middle of my living room. That's actually where it lives. It's not any more complicated than that. It's I keep it simple. I got a picture of my living room so you can see. I think. Oh, I don't have a finished picture of my living room. I have a picture of it here. I don't have a finished picture. My living room's kind of big, and it's right in the middle. It's actually kind of underneath that table, but a little bit in front. It's between the table and the TV underneath, and it's enough to cover the whole living room area. Oh, here's a bigger picture. I had different speakers at the time, so you can kind of get the idea. That's the smoke detector that my wife's complaining about right now, but the device is right here in the middle. And this hole in the wall has been fixed. This is when we first moved in, but now that's all fixed. Yeah, my home is a remote backup storage place. It's among them. I have more than one. So some data goes home, some data is in the cloud, backed up and encrypted. So yeah, I've got quite a few. It's a mix. We still are, despite people are, I'll duck this in the comments one, right? We're still deploying some of the UniFi camera systems because they're so easy for users to use. They just are smooth. I still like the Synology ones. They're harder to set up, but we have a lot of people that we sold the original UniFi video And obviously the UniFi video was deprecated, so now it's the UniFi NVR system. So we've swapped them over to that, and people just like it. The end users are going, "This is great," and I think it's better than Ring. So in some ways, it kind of depends. From a consumer privacy standpoint, as bad as UniFi is, have you looked at Ring? Have you seen the incidents that they've been involved in? And I hate to say all these companies are bad because people say I'm just being jaded and giving all these companies a pass. I'm like, no, I wish they were better, but I don't know what to. So do we use nothing? Do we all just turn off the computers until companies get better? Do I sell them an access system that 2 cameras cost as much as the entire project? Yeah. More friend, like Kyle said, way easier because we don't just sell clients things. They actually want us to support it and answer the phone. It's a novel concept, which also means I don't want to sell them something that has a lot of problems. So yes. Yes, Ring was. There's a couple of incidents Ring had. I don't recall all of them. One of them is sharing data without consent. Another one was letting some third-party company go through data. There was some incident they had with violating a lot of people's privacy. Yeah, I mean, so in the we don't talk about this as much because it's not going to get. If I did a review or a discussion about the ExactVision server, people would kind of glaze over. There's already reviews on high-end equipment like that. It's not something that people seem to have a deep interest on that particular line of equipment. It's also, as soon as they start seeing the price, you're like, oh, it's more of a commercial solution like Access. It's not a bad camera system. And I thought about maybe we don't resell Access specifically. We use some other equipment. We have some school districts we work with that use ExactVision, which is nice because ExactVision is kind of camera agnostic. It works with a lot of different systems, but it's not something home users ever ask about because it's not really priced for home users. Well, it's priced for very wealthy home users. I don't know that we've dealt with several, numerous, I should say, wealthy clients, and we'll just say that I don't know that I can qualify them as a home user. I did a consulting job. I mean, someone had a 7,000 square foot house in Hawaii. Do I call them a home user when we were doing the planning? I don't know. They bought more than some businesses do. I don't know if there's doorbells that support the OVIF protocol or not. I'm not sure. Yeah, so if you put it on the ceiling, face the UniFi access point down. If you're putting it on the floor, that's why it's not mounted upside down to the floor. It's mounted on a board that points it up into the living room. Yeah, Ring is owned by Amazon. There's enough that, yes. I did not get to go to Hawaii to set that system up, unfortunately. Maybe one day they'll call back and that might be kind of neat, but I also have zero interest in being on a plane for the length of time it takes to get to Hawaii. So as exciting as that does kind of sound, I don't like sitting on planes for any length of time. I'm not scared of flights. I just am annoyed by the process of traveling in a plane. Unless I'm in my friend's plane and I ride somewhere with him. That's awesome. I love riding in a plane with him. He's got a small plane and that's fun. I do not like flying commercially unless I'm flying first class. So as long as if I go, I have to go first class. Takes longer in a boat. It's not the time. If I can just wander around on a boat, I'm fine. I don't like being crammed into a metal can. But I guess if I did first class, I could deal with it. So what brand is not a China-based brand? Well, pretty much all of them are made in China. You're really asking who's making the firmware, not who's physically manufacturing the device. Client pay for tickets. Yes, if they're buying, man, we're definitely going first class. And because someone asked about this, this is something worth reading. It's easy to find this. This is one of those things that UniFi does a better job than some of the other companies. So hate on them all you want. Look, they have entire maps, radiation maps for all their devices with all the patterns in it. And you can dive into all the details for every access point. And, you know, earlier in the video, me trying to find ruckus information, and like someone said in a video I did about UniFi alternatives that I found the wrong information. I'm like, yeah, I Googled it and can't find it. Here is the .ant files that you can do for model simulation and all kinds of details. Like, these are things that make UniFi stand out from some of the other companies, direct sale and this. I completely agree. They did awful things. They covered up a breach, blah, blah, blah. I'm not arguing with it. And someone says I'm always giving them a pass. I'm like, I'm not giving them a pass. I wish they didn't do it. I also know many of these other companies, and I pointed out like Juniper, who had a breach, who makes commercial products, who's publicly traded, still has not told us about their breach. They have not fully disclosed that. They're not the only company doing it. Not that that's giving them a pass either. I'm just saying lots of companies are awful right now. And if I try to navigate to say I'm only going to use companies that are absolutely wonderful to work with, I would end up not working with any companies because they all have a lot of faults. That's for sure. It's striking the balance of who do I hate the least? Tom's 2 cents. I love boats. Boats are cool. Trains are cool. Not taking a train to Hawaii, though. Oh. Yes. Meraki is another reseller, and you have to pay a license. Aruba has something like that, but it's not in one place. Yes. I learned things about Aruba from commenters that when we reviewed the Aruba, the salespeople didn't seem to know. And that drove me nuts. I'm like, I found a reseller. We worked with Aruba to do that video where they sent me the Aruba equipment, and I got less information from the Aruba people than I got from people who commented on the video. Like, how is that? We figured stuff out about it. And I'm like, how am I supposed to sell a product when I'm the one doing the learning? Or when I found out that which models, this is also someone, I had to do some digging to find this. And I think it found it in a Reddit forum because someone told me some of the Arubas offer controllers and some don't. And figuring out which models wasn't something I could find on Aruba's website. So that became another hunt that down. And I got a nice email from someone at a university that was using Aruba with a self-hosted controller that I didn't know existed. And I have that email somewhere. They told me which models it was for. It's not for all models. It's only on certain higher end models. And once again, there's a level of confusion around it. And it's not something clarified in our website, which, like I said, I don't understand. Meraki always requires a license. Aruba has models that offer some type of on-prem controller that I think doesn't require a license. I thought Meraki Go had some less expensive license, not no license, but a less expensive license. So, like I said, it's not an easy thing to sort out. It's one of the reasons a lot of people stay with what they know because they're like, it's the challenges in sorting out all the confusion or dealing with resellers becomes the reason you just get a headache going, I just want to get this Wi-Fi job done. They expect you to pay for support. I don't mind paying for support. I would like at least a product page that tells me what your product does, because that's not support. That's just description. And description of, yes, we have a controller. No, we don't have a controller. seems pretty easy. It's not really a support question. If you want to charge me to help set it up, that's support. But telling me what models support what features shouldn't be something that I have to hunt for. Yeah, Cisco monetizes everything. So yes. So the Meraki Go doesn't need it. I know that they're trying to compete with their Meraki Go system. It's been a long time since I looked at it. I don't know what they're doing with it right now. I do know in the IT fields, when I've seen it discussed, it seems like there's a lot of people that don't like it. Like they cut out too many features and bug you to upsell to the more advanced version. That's at least what commenters on Reddit have said. I do not know. I have not used one. But the same commenters seem to comment a lot on there, but you know, they're like, oh, we tried it, we didn't like it. Here's the reasons. And there's some reasons people have listed in there. So the APs, yeah. They said no, so no subscriptions on Meraki Go. All right, so it doesn't need subscriptions, but it's just super basic. If you have a 2-story house, you would put, like for me, if I had a 2nd story, yeah, I would probably put an AP on the ceiling of the 2nd story, or I would put the in-wall access points in each room to create a lot of coverage. It all depends on how you're setting things up. One of our clients has, in their house, we put some UniFi, what do you call that? Trophy shelves. You can also just set it up on a trophy shelf and wire it over there and turn them sideways. There's a couple different ways you can do that to hide them. And a trophy shelf is, I'm not a construction person, but it's where you have a taller vaulted ceiling, but then you have closets that come out. And when the closets come out, I was told by this, I have a trophy shelf at my house. So I have this photo pulled up. Do you see how this is? That's what I was told is called a trophy shelf. So this shelf right here is, I don't know, like 2 feet back. And it's another place I could have put the access point so it's actually in the living room but hidden. But I decided, hey, why even run a wire there? I just ran it all in the basement. It's an alternative to that. I did put LED lights all on mine because same thing, I got the tall ceiling in my kitchen, so I have the LED lights on there. Because I could have put the Wi-Fi there as well, because there's a lip that these lights are setting down in. So you can kind of see how that looks like from this angle. But that little lip where those set down in, and it gives that appearance because it's bouncing off the ceiling to create the light. But that's another spot you could just put them so they're obscured. Generally speaking, my opinion is I don't want to see access points at my house. In the business, I don't care. I like techie stuff. At home, minimalism, clean. I don't like stuff out. I don't like clutter. Hopefully that makes sense. UniFi needs to add more RGB for range. Yes. You can't have enough RGB, even in a house. I like minimalism in terms of clutter. I like RGB at my house. I want to actually, this summer, I might put RGB around my house. That's actually something I was thinking about doing. I want to be that house that has RGB on it. So, Rob Taylor, you'll have to rewind this video. We've already covered everything pfSense. So it's coming up on 6 o'clock. Does anybody else have anything else for the good of the class here? 223 viewers, 105 likes. Yes, go ahead and smash that like button towards the end here. UniFi Red Bull can units with RGB. Yes. RGB Christmas lights, possibly. How far from the Canadian border am I? Let's find out. So let's go to so we are here. This is Lawrence Systems is right here. We are at 14140 Pennsylvania Road. So if we need directions. Now, as far as the Canadian border goes, that's Canada right here. So we are, if we start here, measure distance. Where do you consider the border? So let's just say in the water. Distance to here. I am 3.18 miles or 5.12 kilometers from the line in the water. But we probably want to reach land, which puts me at 8.27 kilometers or 5.14 miles away from the Canadian border. So it kind of depends on exactly where you determine the border is. But in a straight line, it's roughly just under 5 miles to get to the border. But of course, if you actually want to cross and not get in trouble, you can't just, you could certainly go across this river and you will be greeted by people on both sides who want to know why you crossed the invisible line in the water and you don't belong here. So the proper way to do it is over here is where the bridges are or the tunnel. And that's a little bit more of a drive. So it's not that far. I mean, from here to Canada is a few minutes. So hopefully it answers that question. So we're close. We can wave. I ride my bike to the border, and I guess if someone had binoculars, I could wave at Canadians. Do I have a valid passport? I have an enhanced driver's license that allows me to travel to Canada. We have a lockdown situation that prevents me from traveling to Canada right now. Canada won't let us in. They're smart. Collab with Linus Tech Tips. I don't think it seems likely me and Linus would be. I don't know that me and Linus. I mean, I would love to collab. I don't know anything against Linus at all, but I don't know if there's a crossover between our channels. I cover more enterprise stuff. He is in Canada and covers a lot more consumer stuff. And I can't go to Canada right now. Well, I guess I could. Yeah, I got to spend 2 weeks in Canada under quarantine. So yes. You with Linus equals a lot of sponsors involved. Well, yes, Linus runs his channel on sponsors. Linus's monetization model is talking about products and being sponsored by companies for it. So he does a lot of that. Or be an essential worker. I am not a essential worker. Now, Wendell. Actually, I chat with Wendell from time to time. He's great. Yes, at some point, I'll probably end up doing a collaboration with Wendell. That is definitely something that'll happen at some point in time. We've talked about a couple of videos. It's never really materialized. Completely my fault, not Wendell's. I had a couple ideas. I said, I'll start doing work on that, and I didn't. So it is on my to-do list. I really like Wendell. I've met him in person several times at events. Always a pleasure to talk to him. You call it fry sauce. We call it fancy sauce. Fancy sauce is a mixture of ketchup and mayo together, and it's wonderful. You put ketchup, mayo. I like more mayo than ketchup, but there's opinions may vary on this. Definitely much. I like mayo just in general. I'll eat mayo on my fries, but we've always called that fancy sauce, but I bet it does have names. Apparently, Ohio calls it fry sauce. I use it for fries, so fry sauce is fair. I'd probably use it for other things too, but. Google, some of the Google syncing stuff too, I will be covering because you can actually sync some of the Google with TrueNAS. And I've actually tested that because we had a client project, a a client project for that. Do they offer fancy sauce in restaurants? Oddly, no. But if you ask them for ketchup and mayo, they know what you're talking about. They get it. They're like, oh, you're just gonna squeeze these things together. Here you go. They'll put mayo in a cup for you, and there's usually in American restaurants frequently they offer ketchup bottles on the table, and you just throw a little of that in there. Do you have UniFi in stock in the US? Randomly, it depends what you're looking for. Some things are on back order with UniFi. Some things are in stock, so it depends. My German neighbors call it. I can't say that word. Those two words. So it's Pommes Schranke. I am saying it terribly wrong, I'm sure. I've talked before about, I'm not a huge fan of the Ingenious system. I haven't looked at them in a while, but their older stuff was kind of mediocre. MikroTik's fine. I've done videos on MikroTik. Have I been to Windsor? Yes. Yes, I've actually been to Windsor. I used to go to Canada a lot when I was younger. Something about the drinking age being lower in Canada means you went to Canada. The drinking age in America, in Michigan specifically, is 21, and it was 19. So if you wanted to be able to go to a bar, you went over to Canada. That was a thing we did 20-something years ago. Ah, yes. What you call fries and chips. Fries and chips from the UK are very different things. So chips to us are potato chips, which I think you call crisps, but I think fries are referred to as chips in the UK. There's a YouTube channel. I've watched a couple episodes of it because it made me laugh. It's called Lost in a Pond, and it's someone who was born and raised in the UK, now lives here in the United States, and talks about all the differences of the way things are between the UK and living in America. Those things are interesting to me because I haven't spent any time. It's not just visiting, it's about spending time in another country from not a tourist standpoint, but from living there to see how things are different. Fascinates me. Whether it's Japan, America, or those are always really interesting to me, of like, oh, they just do this completely different. What do I think of Apple's Genius Bar? Never been there. I've seen it. It's at the mall. I drive by, see it. Like if it's as much as I got. So cut potato fried equals fries, thick equals chips, and really thin slivers are crisps. Okay. There we've got the whole UK breakdown of it, I think. I'm assuming this person's right. I'm assuming you live in the UK, or at least have a better understanding of it than I do. Because I do not have the deepest understanding of the UK. Neat place. Cool clock towers. Big Ben. Something about a queen. But they're not under my jurisdiction anymore. I'm not part of their jurisdiction, I should say. That came up as a debate on LinkedIn for those that follow me on LinkedIn. Big Ben is the bell. Okay. I thought it was the clock. The clock's not Big Ben? Or is the tower itself? See? I've been making assumptions. It's the bell that's called Big Ben. Okay. That's neat. I forgot the Scots. I don't think I forgot them. Michael McIntyre has videos about U.S. versus England. Yes, there's all kinds of differences. You guys spell things with extra letters. Like there's just more letters in the UK spelling of things. That's always novel to me. We speak the same language, but you guys are like, oh, there's a color. No, color with a U and an O. I think we're way off topic now. Is there any other tech questions we have while we're off the topic here? Yep, people spelling color the UK way. How is it different? Like I talked before, I like Lexicon Valley, and they talk about the etymology of phrases and words, and I don't know, it's just one of those things I laugh at. I'm looking at it because there's a new episode that's out. I don't even need to look what it's titled, but it's just a lot of fun. English is plain weird is the latest Lexicon Valley, so, and it is. Oh, router is how I say it. Router is how the people. So I say router. It is because it routes, but they also say it roots things. The pronunciation different. That at least the spelling's the same. I mean, the U is there in the English and the there. Oh yeah, the Canadians spell things wrong too. Or they spell things the same as the UK. But I know the Canadian and the UK have a closer relationship and a better relationship, I don't know, than the US and the UK. I don't know. There's some bad blood between us and the UK. I don't know. We've all forgotten about it. We just celebrate it on the 4th of July every year to try to remember why. But I am drinking tea, which is favorable over there. But coffee in the morning, so I'm American in the morning, and apparently going back to my English history here and drinking tea. But of course, this type of tea is not probably the popular type of tea over in the UK. Yes, a router is a device for carving wood, and it is for us too. We just reuse words because why not? English is hard to learn. I still don't know it very well. Ever use VGA over Ethernet? No. Wait, are you talking about like those VGA extenders? Forever ago, I've used one of those. UK bathrooms have carpet? That's gross. Throwing it out there. Do not carpet bathrooms. I don't care who you are. I hope that's not true. I hope no one in the UK has a carpeted bathroom. No one should have a carpeted bathroom. Just throwing it out there, folks. I'm all for the bidet, which is, I don't know that's much of a UK thing, maybe a little bit, and Europe likes the bidets, which is great. We won't get on that topic too much, but the carpeted bathrooms, that's a no. That's a hard no for me. They used to have carpet in bathrooms. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Only old people have carpet in bathrooms. Anyone mention a Microsoft outage? Look, it's not news. It's not Office 365. It's not Office 364. It's out again. How many outages have they had this year? It's gotten to be the point where it's just not. It's like a shrug of the shoulders. Is Microsoft down again? I don't know. It's Tuesday, Thursday, whatever. It's down. So, yeah, Microsoft having an outage. Not really news. So there was an era, apparently, where it was in style in the UK to have carpeted bathrooms, but that era has now passed. That's good. Someone woke up to that's just a bad idea. Yes, there's a magic 8-ball in the Azure data center. Does Teams work today, or do we turn it off again because it's Thursday? Yeah. I do have here. Here's my bathroom. Note the distinct lack of carpet in my bathroom. There's no carpet in here. This is the way bathrooms should be. Carpet free. Just throwing it out there. This is we do have a rug in there for stepping out of the shower, but there's no carpet in the bathroom because that's wrong. Weren't we talking about whether you should use Office 365 or G Suite? And I decided we like G Suite. Yeah, bath mat's not the same as carpet because you take the bath mat out and wash it. So. uh, Speaking of MS, I haven't dug into their military contracts. Matter of fact, right now, so much of our military and government in general is tied up with Amazon. I don't see why they shouldn't have some diversity more than just Amazon. But yeah. Oh yeah. They moved the status page behind a login, which is just stupid because when the login broke, they had an authentication problem where if you logged out, or if you were currently logged in, it wasn't a problem, but if you logged out, you couldn't log back in. So you also couldn't log into the status page to get a status update of the broken status. You had to find a friend who was logged in that could send you a screenshot. And I'm like, really? You put your status page behind a login page and then the login system breaks? It's a mess. They should host it on AWS. That would be great. If we had the Microsoft status update page hosted on AWS. There we go. That would be great. Where's the status page for the status page? Yes. That's called Down Detector. That's the status page for the status page. There's no opinion I have on cloud or hybrid. It all depends on what the customer use case is. There's Belgium tables with carpeted tables just sounds weird. I don't know. Yeah, and Down Detector goes down when Cloudflare has issues. So you can't use Down Detector to actually check Cloudflare because if Cloudflare's having a problem, Down Detector's having a problem. So then you go, is it up for me? So then the next question is the detection page even accurate? Not always. Sometimes it'll say things are up and they're not. So that's a whole different problem. It's a mess. It always is. There's always more to do. There's always imperfections and things we need to fix. This is where we're at in 2021 here, and we'll be somewhere slightly different, complaining about something slightly different in 2022 or 2023. Yeah, that's actually, that is probably my suggestion. Is go on Twitter and you can determine what's down. I think Teams is down and, people posting memes. Microsoft bragging about Microsoft Teams. But yeah, I think Microsoft down is usually one of the trending. Is it Microsoft down or is it Teams down or is it Office 365? I don't know. There's always outages. These are historical ones. These are older dates on this, but nonetheless, you go on Twitter, search for a couple of hashtags. Usually you can find a bunch of reports. Down Detector says everything is down. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the plan. Each company should host the status page of the competitor. That would be great. So that would be the plan. Let's force each one of these companies. Google's going to host one for Amazon and Microsoft. Amazon will host one for Microsoft and Google. And then we have Microsoft will host one for Google and Amazon. And they can all just point at each other and complain. Insert 3 Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. I mean, you can kind of build your own down detector service. The problem with down detecting is it's more than just the system. You actually have to actively authenticate and log in. For example, if I were just to go, look, is there a 404 on the web page? Is the web page responding? Well, yeah, it usually is. Like when the authentication system broke, that was a different problem. You could get to the page, you could log in, and then it wouldn't send the token to actually finalize your login because it was deeper in the process that was broken. This is why it gets so hard to check, and it's not as easy as just a determining whether or not the website's up with a ping command or seeing if the web page responds with a 404 or an actual page. Because does it function? It's a really making you need to, each one of these down detecting things need to be like a complete OAuth login. But it has to go through the proper login steps, not just like an API call, like a signed API key or something like that, or not signed, but an API call, because it's maybe the API calls are working, but we can't generate new APIs because we can't actually get to the login. So yeah, I don't know. You know, you say this situation should never happen with proper testing. I'm going to guess you don't work in the enterprise world. Because I'm sorry, I agree completely, and this is why we need better debriefs on things, but there's a lot of things that are interesting, so. So nonetheless. Oh, good, we put Marcus in timeout. Oh, Marcus is waiting for me to come home. What do you want to eat, Marcus? That'll be the last question I ask on here. And Marcus can respond or he can text me. My son was actually, I think he got banned from my forums. Not forums, but Discord. I don't know why. Someone else banned him. He doesn't get unbanned because he was probably doing something stupid. I don't make exceptions. If my son is doing something stupid, he's going to get banned. It's crazy all the different things you deal with at large enterprises. I mean, like I have friends that manage massive amounts of endpoints and things like that, and maybe we can figure out a way for one of my friends to be anonymous because he can't talk about where he works. He can talk about what he does at work, but he can't talk about the company he works for specifically. And it might be something kind of fun to talk about some of the issues you have when you manage 180,000 endpoints. So message deleted by Kyle. He's going to have to text me because Marcus just got Kyle just dropped the ban hammer on my son. Have you ever resell contact center services? No. I don't know what contact center services are. Yeah, my son gets muted. Let's see if he actually messaged me, because I said, what do you want? But he's not texting me, so I won't bring home food. He'll just figure it out. We're just probably going to go home and play video games or something. So any final questions while I wind this down? Final minutes. I'm positive my son wants pizza. I almost don't even really need to ask. He pretty much wants pizza. That's a prediction I have. Some kid posted tweets from the U.S. Nuclear Agency. Yes, that was funny. I did see that. That was amusing. So he just messaged me. He wants a smoothie. So yes, now I got to get my son a smoothie. Go home with Chinese and curry. I love curry. I like Indian food. Indian food's amazing. That's one of our treats we have here. We're excited because an Indian place opened up that has some of the best, richest butter chicken dish ever. So now you guys all got me hungry. All right, I'm going to go home and eat. Thank you all for joining. Awesome having all of you here. Head over to I love Thai food as well. Thai food's amazing. especially spicy Thai food. The local people know us because they know how spicy we like it here at the office. So Thai food, yes. Butter chicken, Brazilian barbecue. Oh, yeah. Yep. So, oh, my son says, hey, I got to text him back. Okay. Be there soon. All right. Tell my son I'll be there in a minute. Thank you all for joining. See you in the forums. Hit me up on Twitter or whatever where we can engage a little bit if you want. I don't mind Twitter. Don't try to email me. We do have a contact form because if you email me, it goes to the Bitbucket because people just guess at random email addresses most of the time trying to figure mine out anyways. But if you're looking for discussion, my forums is a place for that. If you want to hire us, that we have a contact form. If you want to tag me in a tweet because you find something amusing, memes go in Twitter. That's, you know, some of the fun posts. That's generally what those are for. So thanks, everyone. And look for some new videos, leave suggestions, etc., etc. Thanks for joining. I'm trying to find this down. What? Oh, yeah. Things are slowly opening back up. Yes. Speaking of that, we're going to go get a smoothie. That's what my son wants. So later, I press this button.